It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's work. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's work. It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS.
Yes, welcome.
This shit is not easy, but it's work. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's work. It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS.
All right,
This shit is not easy, but it's work.
All right, lovelies. Happy Tuesday. I hope that everybody's having a great day so far. We're about to get into this topic Tuesday. Before I get started, if you're watching from YouTube, definitely make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you hear anything that you feel is helpful, definitely make sure that you share it with anyone around you. Okay, same for Facebook. If you are interested in memberships are available on YouTube. Okay, memberships do come with exclusive perks. I will be doing a members only live reading today for the month of November and for Scorpio season coming in. So for those who are already members, then you can be expecting for that to pop up soon after this video. And for those who are not members, then you will get your reading on Friday. Okay. For those who are interested in any spiritual life coaching, I do have life mentoring, spiritual life mentoring. I do have consultations, therapy sessions, counseling sessions, card readings, intuitive readings, classes, and courses available for those who are interested. I do also have some literature here, as you can see on the screen, that is available on Amazon. Just click the link in the description, and it should take you to that. I also have a 15-minute and 30-minute special for readings for this week only. So if you are interested, definitely reach out. Again, my website is currently under reconstruction, so the best way to contact me is via my email, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, or via my personal DMs on any of my socials. Okay, so today we're going to be getting into generational curses. Okay, and I vaguely talked about generational curses, not really in detail or as much detail as I wanted to. So we're going to kind of scrape the surface today and kind of get more of an understanding of how generational curses work, what generational curses even are, and then I'm going to kind of go into ways to start to detach yourself from family if there are family issues, or if while you're on your journey you start to just get to that point where you can no longer be around the people that you used to be around, which is a point we all get to. And unfortunately and fortunately, sometimes that involves family. Okay. So let's start with generational curses. Okay, what even is a generational curse, right? When you get into spirituality or just being in 2023 at this point, you hear that word kind of tossed around a lot, and a lot of people again don't go into detail and really explain to you what a generational curse is and what a generational curse may look like. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. So what is a generational curse? Right, a generational curse, there are different types. First off, so you have a, standard generational curse, the traditional one that we all know about, where there may have been something that happened in your bloodline that was never addressed. Okay, so some type of trauma occurred in your bloodline that nobody ever addressed, nobody ever talked about, nobody ever did the work to figure out what's going on, why did this happen, how did this happen, how do you move forward. Ain't nobody ask no questions, ain't nobody do nothing about it. So what happens is that person passed their trauma on to their offspring, and their offspring pass that trauma on to theirs, and so on and so forth. And that's how we come up with the traditional generational curse, a past trauma that was left untouched, undealt with, unfigured out, and it basically got passed down. Okay, now the other generational curse that a lot of you may not be familiar with are actual curses that are put on bloodlines. Okay, now this goes a little bit further back, right? And for some people it may be current. Okay, depending on what you involved with, who you involved with, or who got it out for you on a spiritual note. Okay, now this isn't as common as regular generational curses, so don't go out here thinking that somebody is putting voodoo on your bloodline just because you're dealing with certain things in your life. That doesn't mean that. But some people have put some roots. Okay, roots is another word for a curse or spell work or magic. Some people have put some roots on some people's bloodline. Okay, usually those people suffer more traumatic traumas, or they can even have long suffering. Okay, so like long term sickness, things like that are more telltale signs of a root. Okay, if somebody is sick all the fucking time and they go to doctors and nobody can explain what the fuck is going on, and they run all these tests and can't nobody figure out what's wrong with you, but you sick and you always sick and something is always wrong, baby, that's a root. Okay, somebody to put something on your motherfucking ass. Anytime the doctors can't explain it, anytime nobody knows any answers, that's when you know it's spiritual. Okay, because if they can't, okay, there we go. If they can't figure it out on a physical plane, that means it's most definitely 100% spiritual. Okay, so there's a difference when it comes to curses. Some, for the most part, they usually are things that are left undealt with, unhealed, unfixed, unheard, unspoken in our generation. And then you have the complete opposite side where someone, a person, okay, or group of people actually sat down to put root on you or on your family or on your bloodline. Okay, again, there's a huge difference. I don't want to get too caught up into the root aspect of it because that's not what usually is going on. Again, when it comes to doing roots, and I'm just say this because it needs to be said, a lot of y'all get lost into thinking just because you became spiritual or you woken up to your spirituality, that now all of a sudden anytime something goes bad in your life or anytime you're faced with some problems or some issues, that somebody put a root on you or a curse. That's not the same thing. Okay, if there are things in your life that you can change, but you just being a bump on the log and you're being lazy and you're not tapping in and you're not doing what you need to do, then that's not nobody putting a root on you. That's just you needing to do more work. If you get to a place in your life where things are just challenging or you feel like you're losing a lot of things or shit is just going haywire back to back, that don't mean nobody put a root on you. That just means that your life could just be going through a transformation phase. Okay, so don't come into spirituality thinking that every time something goes wrong or every time something doesn't go your way, that it automatically means somebody is out here playing, Jenga with your fucking life. That's not what that means. Okay, so stop trying to put the blame on other people. Stop trying to throw your shit on other people. Your life is fucked up because you fucked it up. That's just the reality. For most people, you are where you are in your life because of you. Stop trying to find people to point the finger at. Stop trying to think that everybody out here got power enough to really affect you in that way. Okay? When it comes to roots, these people usually go to someone who is well equipped and advanced at doing what they do. It is not the girl who's fucking your baby daddy. Okay? It's not her. It's not the motherfucker down the street that's jealous of you. It's not the bitch at your job. It's not your fake ass best friend. Okay? I promise you it's fucking not. Alright? When shit like that is happening in your life, it's you. Because ain't none of these bitches mad at you enough to go pay somebody to put no motherfucking root on you. And I can put money on that. Okay? Also, when it comes to certain practitioners, they're not just going to put roots on people over no stupid ass disputes, because there are laws when it comes to the spiritual realm. Okay, you can't just be out here fucking with people free will just for the fuck of it. And a lot of these actual practitioners who know what the fuck they're doing, they're not just going to be doing out here doing anything for a coin. Okay, if it's somebody online talking about something, they gonna put roots on somebody for a coin, and they don't give a fuck, and they just doing it for the money. I guarantee you that shit will not work. Cause okay, so let's get back to the other place. Okay, let's get back to these generational curses that come in the form of trauma. So these are the type of things that we are essentially born with. These are the things that we inherit, okay? Now I have to break down the sacral chakra in the womb of the mother for y'all to really understand how this works. Your mother, right? Even if you are a woman and you're watching this right now, our wombs are lined with memory tissue. The same memory tissue that you have in your brain is the same memory tissue that lines your womb. Okay. Hey, Aileen, one of my members. Shout out to you, babe. Thanks for tuning in. There is memory tissue in your womb. Okay. Why is this important? Because everything that woman experiences in her life, everything that you go through as a woman, all of your trials and tribulations and traumas and blockages and all of those things are stored in your womb, which is your sacral chakra. Okay? All right? So this is when science meets spirituality. Okay? So everything that you've gone through as a person, every experience you've had, every, traumatic thing, every beautiful thing, good or bad, doesn't matter. It gets stored. The memories of that thing, the energy from those experiences gets stored in your womb. Okay? It gets stored in your womb. So what happens when you baking a baby in that storage place for 9 months? Well, the baby is going to come out with some of those things that was up in there. Okay, it's like if you think of your womb as a library, okay, and it just has all of your family secrets and family history and everything in it. Okay, that baby, while it's baking for 9 months, is basically going through all of the books in that library, and some of those things they're going to walk away with, and some of those things they're going to leave behind. This is why we don't experience all of the things that our family has experienced. We don't feel all of the traumas that our family may feel, but we do got some shit that we got from the motherfuckers. Okay, because we pick up a couple of things, and some things we leave behind. Now, if this is happening over generations and over generations or over generations or over generations, then eventually we're going to end up with a group of people who have a lot of motherfucking problems. If all of these problems aren't being dealt with and they're just being stored in the womb, they're just being stored in the sacral chakra, and that person keeps making babies, and then they send their offspring, and their offspring is now carrying some of those weights and some of those traumas, and they go make some babies, and then their offspring is carrying some of those weights and those traumas, and they go make some babies. Now we got a whole generation of what? Curses, of problems, of issues, of incorrect mentalities, right? Of mistakes and confusion and everything the fuck else. Okay, now it's a generational issue. This is why I always tell people, I've had so many clients come to me, and the first thing they always want to talk about is their family, right? Of course, because you raised around these motherfuckers your whole life, and usually, that's a part of our problem. That's a part of our baggage. That's a part of our trauma, because we spend so much time with them. But I always see, sometimes when people tap in spiritually, they start to try to turn their nose up at their family members. Kind of the same type of way that Christians, they find Jesus, or they feel like they're going to heaven and they turn their nose up at everybody else. I've seen a lot of people do that, right? You come to me like, oh yeah, Poke, I need help because I don't connect with my family. They just, they on another wave, and I'm the chosen one, and I'm the this and I'm the that, and I just don't, Don't forget, you came from them same people. So I always say, everything that you see in your family or your family members that you don't like, look at yourself and see if that affects you first. Before you start to open your mouth and you talk shit, don't forget, the same womb that your siblings came out of, you came out of too. Don't forget, the same grandmama that's crazy and fucked up, that's the grandmama in the family, is your grandmama. Meaning you are from her seed. You carry a piece of her. So before you start looking at your family crazy just because you spiritual now, make sure you do some inventory. Make sure you check on yourself and see, okay, what parts, what shit did I get from these motherfuckers? Okay? Don't be so quick to point the finger just because you done woke up. Don't do that. That's the biggest mistake that you can make, because once you do that, you start to separate yourself from the problems that y'all share. Y'all share problems. How the fuck you gonna point out some shit that's fucked up with them, but then you're not looking at yourself and point out the shit that's fucked up with you? This is how generational curses continue. The family just separate. Oh, I don't like what you did. I don't like what you did. So then the family just separates. Instead of working on it, instead of coming together and fixing it, instead of, trying to figure out what's going on and fix yourself individually so that you can then come back as a family and figure it out, nobody wants to do that. Everybody just wants to realize that their family fucked up, realize that their family got issues, and then try to separate themselves as if they're not a part of it. And you can't do that. Okay? You cannot do that, because all you're going to do is take those problems that you got and you're going to go start your own family or your own little unit, and you're still going to pass all of that shit down. If you don't heal it, it's not going nowhere. If you don't figure out what the problems are, you can't fix the damn problem. So a lot of people get into spirituality, and the first thing you want to do is point fingers and try to separate yourself from everybody and act as if you somebody different, or act as if you came from a different family, you came from different stock. Them your same family members too. Okay? So you need to be asking yourself, in what ways or what things have I picked up from these people that I didn't come in the world with? Okay? That I didn't come in the world with. All right? Or that is not mine. Because we can sometimes come in the world with things, but it don't belong to us. Like I said, you baking in your mama's womb for 9 months. You are surrounded by her emotions. You're surrounded by her feelings. You're surrounded by her experiences. You're surrounded by her trauma. And all of this is on an energetic level. So you can't tell that something is wrong with that child once the mother give birth. You can't tell that child and picked up traumas once the mother give birth, because it's all energetic. You can't see it. You can't see the trauma. Right? So now y'all need to ask yourselves this. If you have children right now, what have you passed on to your children that you did not heal? Because I guarantee you that they got some of it. And the more you try to distance yourself from family and make it seem like you the oddball out, and some of us may be a little different from our family, but to try to distance yourself from them like they the ones with the problems, and once you separate yourself, all the problems disappear, what you're doing is doing your child a disservice. Because you can't be in no environment for 9 months and then 18 years and then think that you come out with no scratches, no scars, no trauma, no baggage, no nothing. You're crazy as hell. And some of y'all had y'all babies before the age of 18. So you were still in the trauma, pregnant with the next generation. So you think just because you're, raising your child in a different environment, and just because you're not being like your mama was to you or being like your daddy was to you, that eliminates all of the work that you need to do. Oh, I'm good. I separated myself from my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like my mother. I'm not like my father. I separated myself from them people, so my kids is going to be different. No, your kids will still be traumatized if you don't go inside and do that damn work. Point blank the fuck period. Because before you found spirituality, you was already pregnant. Before you found spirituality, you had already had babies. So now you got to go backwards. You got to go backwards and clean up the shit that you didn't have the tools to clean up before. Okay? That's just that on that. All right. So generational curses can come in so many different ways. It doesn't have to just be, you know what I'm saying, like the big traumas that we think about, like, you know, sexual assault or alcoholism or drug use or lying. Some people got a bad problem with lying in a families, or anger issues or stuff like that. Those may be some of the more broader generational curses. But what about fear? I brought this up before. Fear can be a generational curse. If you were raised by someone who lost their sense of dignity, lost their sense of hope, lost their quest for creativity and their inner desire for new things and to have, you know, new beginnings and to take leaps of faith. If you were raised by somebody who was closed-minded and who was scary and who was fearful and who always thought something was going to go wrong, that's a generational curse. And I guarantee you that right now, to this day in your life, there are certain things that you are completely afraid of doing. Certain things you will not let yourself do, certain places you will not let yourself go because of this innate fear that was instilled into you while you were baking, for some of y'all, and for others of you while you were going through your childhood. So generational curses are not always, oh, you know, someone assaulted me or someone did this to me physically or whatever. Okay? Sometimes it's very emotional. Sometimes it's a mental thing. There are mental generational curses, right? For example, one of the generational curses that I don't personally deal with for real, never really dealt with because I just didn't give a fuck, but that a lot of the women in my family deal with is thinking that don't nobody like you, everybody got a problem with you. That's a generational curse. How the fuck can everybody have a problem with you and they don't know you? All majority of the women in my family, and I think it doesn't affect me because of how much work I've been doing on myself, right? But it tried to appear every now and again. But thinking that everybody don't fuck with you, thinking everybody don't like you. I dealt with it a lot when I was younger, right? And you walk into a room and just because people are looking at you, you feel like, oh, they talking about me, or they got a problem with me, oh, they must not like me. That's a generational curse. Why? Because where did you get that from? Who taught you that just because people, you know, may stare at you, or just because people may not, you know, do what you feel like they should be doing or talk to you the way that you feel like they should be talking to you, that they don't fuck with you or they don't like you or that they talking about you? Where the fuck did you get that from? That's not a normal thought process, right? And a lot of the things that we think are normal is not normal. This is why I tell y'all, don't be so quick to distance yourself from your family, because you just like the motherfuckers. You grew up in the same environment they did. How you think you're gonna come from the same environment but then not share any type of anything? If you came from the same environment, then certain things are going to be similar. You're going to have certain similar experiences or certain similar things that you take from that environment. So you can't hurry up and be so quick to distance the motherfuckers, because a lot of y'all think that certain things you do in your life is normal. It is not normal, babe. It may be normal for you because it's always happened around you, because of the environment that you grew up in made it feel like it's normal, but it's not a normal thing. It's not a normal occurrence or experience, right? A lot of y'all feel like, you know, for me, another generational curse in my family, right, is not is talking to people with no emotion and then calling it care and concern. Okay, when I say, baby, generational curse, something that I had to deal with for a long time until and still am learning to master giving people truth without, you know, being completely detached and disconnected from them. I'm still learning that. And that comes from my family. The women in my family, for the most part, it really doesn't, I mean, it affects the men too. I'm not going to say that it don't. But for the most part, it affects the women. In my family, baby, they will tell you some shit about yourself, and it can be 100% true. But the way they say it, you would think that you a bitch on the street. And my mama has told me herself, I will whoop your ass like a bitch on the street. I will do this to you like I don't know you. My own mother has said that to me. And me and my mother, we pretty cool at this point. But guess what? My grandmother said it to her. And guess who said it to my grandmother? Her mother. Generational curse. The art of detachment. Right? It's nothing wrong with giving truth, right? My family is very good at pointing out what is true, whether you want to hear it or not. But the delivery, that's the curse. The delivery of that truth is my family's curse. They don't know how to talk to you with love and light. They don't know how to do that. Okay? In their head, if it's true, I gotta say it. It may hurt your feelings. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. Right? Now, to a certain extent, you can't. Sometimes the truth does hurt, right? We can't really do nothing about that. But there's also a way that you can deliver the truth that shows that you actually give a fuck about that person. That shows that you actually care. Right? And I had to learn that because the women in my family never did that. And it started way before I got here. The way that my great grandmother talked to my grandmother broke her, right? Diminished her and made her mean. The pastor, my grandmama is a pastor. My grandma's a doctor apostle. And you better not forget the doctor part. Okay? Because she will let you know, I'm the doctor apostle. Okay? My grandmother's the type that if we having a conversation, she gonna tell you, I am the matriarch of this family. I am the oldest living in this family. Y'all gonna put some respect on my name. That has always been my grandmother's demeanor from when I was, since I could understand. She don't play. Okay, she's big on her respect and her credibility, and the women in my family are very big on their respect and credibility, but they also can be a little harsh and hostile. They don't know how to all the way tap into that feminine part of them and show that the love and the emotion, unless it's the people that they actually fuck with, and even sometimes they don't know how to do that. So these are all things that I have to learn. I know I tell y'all all the time, I'm gonna talk about me first, right? Y'all be scared to talk about yourselves. I'm not scared to talk about myself. Okay, my truth is my truth. I know what I'm struggling with. Do you? Okay, that's just what it is. So when you are looking at generational curses, they're not always going to just stand out to you. It's not going to always be in your face, right? A lot of trauma is very in your face, but the things that affect us the most usually are buried deep, below the surface, which means that you got to go looking for it. It's not something that's just going to pop up on your doorstep, like I said, of course, there's overall traumas generational traumas that affect us in the Black community. Of course, when it comes to pedophilia. Okay, a lot of these grown ass men and grown ass women was touching on us as kids. Let's talk about it. Okay, and it didn't just start and with us, because guess what? Most of these people are usually family members. Okay. So if they family members and they touching on family members, what does that make you think? That they were touched by a family member. Generational curses. They're doing what they saw. They're repeating what they experienced, or they're repeating what was in their environment. Period. Right? What's another curse? Denial. Because how many people were touched, were assaulted, or something happened to you, and you went and told a family member, or you told the person responsible for that person, or you told the grandmama or the mama or whoever, and them motherfuckers was in denial. They didn't believe you, or they swept it under the rug, or told you not to tell nobody else about it, or that didn't happen. Or try to get you to just whatever, forget about it, act like it didn't happen, or just didn't care. That's a generational curse. So with things like that, you gotta ask yourself, if the person in my life denied what happened to me, right, and didn't want to believe what happened to me, I wonder what happened to them and who believed them. Because it's a curse. It's a curse. It came from somewhere. It didn't just start with your grandmama. It didn't just start with your mama. It didn't just start with your daddy or your brothers. It started way before that. That's why it is a generational curse, because there's a pattern, right? If it was happening before you got here, then it can't possibly be your fault. It is not our fault that we are afflicted with generational curses. That's not our fault. But it is our fault if we become adults and we stay cursed. Now, I tell you all the time, it may not be your fault that you got there, but it is your fault if you stay there. So this is why figuring out where the generational curses are in our lives and picking those things apart and shining the light on them is so important, because until we figure out where the curses are and what the curses are, then we will continuously be affected subconsciously by the very curses that we're trying to let go of. Okay? So this is where it starts, right? It starts with you. A lot of times you guys go into, trying to heal your family and trying to heal what happened in your past, and you want to go to the person who you feel like is responsible. So when you start your healing journey, you want to go to your mama house and you want to start telling your mama all the shit that you ain't like when you was growing up. Or you want to go to your daddy house and tell your daddy all the shit you ain't like when you was growing up, or grandma, or whoever raised you. No. Tis, tis, tis. Don't do that. Do not do that. If you start your healing journey involving and inviting other people, you will, and I repeat, you will be starting over very soon. You can't heal with other people. Your healing is not about other people taking accountability for what they did to you. That's not what healing is about. And a lot of y'all think that you only heal from things when that person apologizes, or when that person says sorry and they understand how they did you, or when that person admits that they was wrong, or when that person hears you out. That's not when healing starts. Your healing journey don't have shit to do with that person ever saying sorry, I apologize, or taking any type of accountability for what they did to you. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that. That's just the fucking reality. And a lot of y'all sit around and you want to invite people into your process. So you go and you talk to your mama, right? You're going to talk to granny. You're going to talk to whoever you felt like was a part of your traumas or whatever. And you start unloading all these feelings and problems on their ass. And what usually happens? They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit. Why? Because they're not the ones healing. So they're not the ones ready to heal. So they're not ready. They don't want to hear that. You imagine somebody calling you randomly in the day, and then they just start talking about all the shit that you did wrong to them. Random. You just woke up, you minding your business, or you dealing with your own issues in your life, or you feel however the fuck you feel, and you pick up the phone, and it's a person that was around you, grew up with you, or whatever, and they just start unloading all of the fucked up shit that you did to them. You don't want to hear that. How would you receive that if you got a random call, a random conversation popped up on your ass, and then just finger pointing, boop, 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 boop. Somebody just shooting your ass with their experiences? Would you be happy? Would you sit down and be open? Fuck no. You will be annoyed. You'll be irritated. You'll feel, just taken aback, shocked, surprised. What the fuck going on? What happened? I thought you was about to call me and talk about something else. You just called me and unloaded all your feelings and traumas on me. That's not fair. It's not fair. Even to the person who did it to you, it's not fair. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, because you want that person to be responsible for your feelings. But this is the thing. Once you leave that environment, you are the only person responsible for you. Once you leave childhood and now you're on your own, you are the only person responsible for you. Nobody has to ever tell you sorry. Okay? A lot of y'all come into spirituality with this audacity that you don't get to have. Just because you healing don't mean you get to go around bullying everybody into listening to you talk about your childhood all day. That's not how that works. It's not about you to them. It's about you to you, not to them. You will never ever be more important, or you should never ever be more important to a person before themselves. Y'all walking around here wanting people to put you at the forefront of their minds and their lives just because you feel some type of way. That's not how that works. That's not how that works, right? Healing and going through your healing journey, your shadow work journey, is about you. What did I do? How did I play a part? I may not be a part of how it started, but I'm damn sure part of it continuing. So where do I need to start taking accountability? The only reason why we go through childhood trauma is to detach responsibility. That's the only reason. It's not to go heal our relationships with our parents. It's not to go and heal our relationship with the people who raised us. That's not what it's about. And I know y'all probably listening to me like, girl, what the fuck you mean? That's not what childhood trauma is about. It's not about them. Your childhood trauma healing is for you to go in and figure out what problems and issues did you collect from that point of your life that you still are allowing to handicap you in your adulthood. That's it. It's not to start bombarding your mama with all of the shit that she did to you. It's not to start calling up every family member that you feel like did you wrong and want to have a face-to-face, heart-to-heart meeting. That's not what the fuck it's about. That leads to you having expectations not met. And then it leads to you starting to get stagnant on your journey because you're not getting the results you feel like you should get. Which is why a lot of y'all don't touch childhood trauma healing, or you touch it and then you run scared and you leave that shit alone because you're mad that people don't want to acknowledge what you have acknowledged in your own brain. But it's not about them. And until you learn that your healing journey is not about nobody but you will handicap yourself. You will continue to inflict self-harm because every time you sit across from that person who is not ready to acknowledge anything, you are inflicting pain upon yourself by choice. Because anybody told you to go out here and start trying to call people and bombard them with your insecurities and your problems and your traumas. Period. Even a person who may have traumatized you, they got their own traumas. They got their own life, and you might not give a fuck about it because you feel like, well, damn, fuck you and your problems. You did this to me. You ruined my life. You made me feel like this. You made me feel like that. But you're not even realizing that person's life been ruined. So who ruined them in order for them to come ruin you? The same way you took your traumatized ass out into this world and you ruined other people. Let's not sit here and act like we're not responsible for ruining some people. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna be out here acting like we just King Tut and we ain't hurt no motherfucking body. We ain't did nothing nobody. Be for fucking real. Be for real. Whether we are conscious of it or subconscious to it, don't fucking matter. We are responsible. We are the villain in a lot of people's stories. Period. And if all of them people start calling you one day, telling you how much you fucked them up, what would be your response? How would you respond? If all of those people that you affected, again, consciously and subconsciously, the same way that our parents affected us in ways that they have no knowledge about, they don't even know. It's like new news to them when we come to them and tell them certain things because they just wasn't conscious of it. It's the same way we have subconsciously fucked endless people over and they feel some type of way about it and we would never know. We would never motherfucking know unless they came to us and they sat down with us and they told us about it. So you can never get into a position in your healing where you feel like you are the victim and everybody is just supposed to just come to your call, come to your aid, okay, and put the bandage on your boo-boo and kiss it. No, because we are villains just as much as we are victims. We are not victims in everybody's story. In some people's story, we the motherfucking villain. The same way in our story, our parents may be the villain. Or whoever raised us may be the villain. Or whoever did something to us may be the villain. They got their own villains as well. So you can't ever expect to come to somebody and think that what you feel about them is going to be more important than how they feel about themselves. Because you wouldn't do it. Stop expecting shit from people that you wouldn't even fucking do. So when I first started my healing journey and I started going through all of my, traumas and childhood traumas and all of these different things, the first thing I did was what? Picked up the phone. I want to talk to my mama. Mom, when I was a kid, you made me feel like this. And Mom, when you did this, it hurt my feelings. And Daddy, You made me feel this and made me feel that. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. I'm the victim. And guess what? They wasn't ready to accept it. So you know what that did? Fucked me up. Because my mama didn't want to hear that shit at that point. She said, girl, what the fuck is you talking about? That didn't even happen. I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't do that. Well, some of the stuff she said, well, you probably deserved it. This is why you don't hang your healing on the back of anybody else. Because what you start to do is prioritize everything that they say and they do. And what they say and do starts to affect your healing journey. Meaning, you don't heal until this person accepts whatever you feel like they're supposed to accept or recognize whatever you feel like they're supposed to recognize. Until they do that, you're not going to heal it. That's a problem. Your healing should never be based on anybody else accepting what they did wrong or talking about what they did wrong to you. That's not healing. That's not what this is about. This is not about other people admitting that what you feel is valid. This is not about people validating your pain and your hurt. That's not what healing is about. And as long as you are coming into this process thinking that you will only heal with the mindset, the mentality that you will heal when people start to take responsibility for what you feel like they should take responsibility for, or that people should say to you what you feel like they should say to you, when you start to hang your healing on the backs of other people, you open yourself up to be let the fuck down. And what does that do? Put you into a depressive state, put you into an anxious state, put you in your head, make you handicapped, cause you to be stagnant, and then you look up, it's been 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, a year, and you ain't did a fuck ass thing towards your journey. But you hopping on social media talking about full moons and new moons and shit. But you on social media talking about my ancestors don't play about me. But you on social media talking about all this yip yap and bullshit, and you ain't doing a fuck ass thing because you are sitting here waiting for people who are no longer responsible for you to be responsible for you. And it's not gonna fucking happen. Period. So what do you have to do? You gotta go pick up your own pieces and put yourself back together. Who cares who broke you? Hard truth. Who gives a fuck? It's not their responsibility no more. They broke you years ago. It's been years. It's time for you to do some work now. You are the only person who is going to come and save you. Nobody is going to come save you. Your mommy is not coming back to save you. Your daddy is not coming back to save you. Your granny is not coming to save you. These niggas that you fucking on is not going to come save you. These women that y'all laying with is not going to save you. You are responsible for your own safety. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, it all falls on you. You are responsible for your own healing journey. Nobody else can come in and put you back together. It is a self-project. It's a self-motherfucking project. You can't go out here trying to force people to help you glue yourself back together. They may be too busy gluing themselves back together, as they should. As they should. Stop trying to be somebody else's priority when you haven't even prioritized yourself. That's what healing teaches you. The only person responsible for prioritizing you is you. It's not your mama's job to make you feel like a lovely, sweet little queen. That's not your mama's job no more. You a grown-ass fucking adult, and some of y'all got kids. You got your own responsibilities out here. You trying to make your mama responsible for you, and you grown as fuck. Wake up. Wake up. Smell the healing. It's not going to happen like that. And what you're doing is you're handicapping yourself. You're making yourself a victim, and you are not a victim anymore because now you are responsible for yourself. You are no longer a victim. You can't keep on going back and trying to point fingers at people when you are inconvenienced. And this is the thing. Thank you. Healing is always. You from the day you start healing to the day you take your last breath, it's gonna be healing all up in between there. Period. You have to be okay with doing your own work if you really want your life to change. If you're really tired of living the life that you've been living, if you're really sick of generational curses affecting you, go do the fucking work. Other than that, shut the fuck up. Because we don't want to hear nobody complain. We don't want to hear nobody complain. Because this is the thing, like I said, you can go to those people all you want and tell them all about how they treated you and how they did you wrong and hurt your feelings and made you sad. And they can look you dead in your shit and say, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That didn't happen. Then what? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Go jump off a bridge? What are you gonna do? When that person look you dead in your fucking face and tell you that they don't know what the fuck you talking about, or could care less what the fuck you talking about for real. You never know how it's gonna go. Then what you gonna do? You just gonna stop your healing process? You just gonna be done? That's what y'all do though. Y'all go to that person and just trauma dump. You dump all your traumas on that person, and you want them to weed through all of the shit you just dumped on their ass, and be able to understand it all and intake it all and have no problems with it and admit that you're right, you're so right, and then what? Then what? What you gonna do? When that person doesn't acknowledge your pain, then what? You just gonna stop healing? You just gonna walk away? You just gonna be done with it? No, you gotta keep going because your healing don't have shit to do with them anyway. Again, childhood trauma healing don't have nothing to do with your parents. It don't mean you need to start going and having conversations and talking to these people and bombarding them with all of your traumas. That's not what childhood trauma healing is about. Again, it's about figuring out what came from this point in my life that is negatively affecting me to this day. Let me point out what all of those things are and go do my own work to fix it. And then once I have it under control, then I can go to this person and have a conversation with them. Because if they do look me in my face and say they don't know what I'm talking about, it don't fucking matter. I already healed the fucking problem at hand. So it doesn't matter whether they accept it or not at that point, because I'm already doing the work or the work has already been done. Make sense? You don't start your healing journey off with those people who hurt you. Your whole journey is about you. Now, if you get later on down the line and you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to go have a conversation with my mama, then by all means, go ahead. But at that point, it won't matter because your journey wasn't contingent off of that conversation. You already been on your journey. Now you're just at a point where you're like, okay, I'll have a chit chat with her. So now, no matter what your mother says, whether she's receptive, because some parents are receptive. For example, my father. My father is the receptive parent. He's the one who will sit there and listen to you and really take into account what you said, how you felt, his part in it, whether he was conscious of it or not, whether it was his intentions or not. That's just how my daddy is. So I can have those types of conversations with him. I still don't go looking for it. I still don't go into it with any expectations. You regardless of how open they are, you never go into it with any expectations, right? The only expectation I have is to free myself. That's the only expectation I have. I don't have an expectation for that person to, agree with me or to apologize or to whatever. That don't have nothing to do. That's not my problem. That's that person's problem. Again, we go into accountability, right? So whatever that person did to me, they're responsible for that. I'm not responsible for that. So I don't have to carry that weight. Whatever this person did to me when I was a child, they gotta take that. They gotta live with that shit. I gotta live with that. I can go heal myself and be done with it, and they can keep living with it. I don't want to keep living with it. So I don't go into it with any expectations from that person. I go into it with expectations from myself. This conversation will free me because I will be able to at least tell that person everything that I felt. It's not about how they receive it. It's about me getting it out. That's a completely different thing, right? When you go into it banking on their response, that's when you fuck yourself over. But when you go into it banking on you just freeing yourself and just being able to openly say how you feel, then you win every time. A win is a win, right? So when I go and I talk to my dad, I just be talking. Because it's for me. It's for me to get it out to the person who I feel like needs to hear it. Now, he's very receptive. So his response is very different than how a lot of people will respond. Right? I've had clients that went and talked to their family members or for I use myself as an example. My mom, like I said, my mom and my dad are night and day. You go take some shit to my mom, she automatically is the victim. She will start crying. She's a Pisces. She immediately goes into cry mode, goes into I was just explanation mode and trying to defend herself mode, and it just becomes a lot. Right? I can't do all that. You know what I'm saying? And I've learned to not need that. Of course it hurts because you want your parents to hear you out. You want your parents to apologize. Everybody wants that ideal relationship with their parents, but that just may not be your truth. And you have to be okay with that just not being your truth and your experience. That's a personal thing, right? You got to be okay with not having that relationship. Because everybody don't get to have a relationship with their mama and their daddy. That's just life. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Right? That's just what it is. Everybody don't get that. And not because everybody, people have, now there are some people who have family members, their parent passed away, before they started their healing journey. So they can't really go to that person in the physical world, right? Some people may have been adopted, so they have no idea who their physical family even is. So that's not an option, right? It's just not an option for everybody to have that bloodline relationship with their parents, with their biological parents. It's just not an option. And just because you got your parents at your reach doesn't mean that's an option for you either. See, we get physical presence and emotional presence confused a lot. We think that just because people are physically here, that they are emotionally sound and emotionally ready and emotionally capable of handling us, our issues, our problems, or our thoughts and feelings. And they're not. They're not. Just because they're close to us or they're tangible don't mean that they're ready for it. And a lot of y'all feel like just because, I still got my mama here, I still got my daddy here, or I still have some type of relationship with my mama and daddy, that means that they're going to be open. It don't mean that at all. I have a very good relationship with my mama, and she's not open to a lot of shit. I talk to her a couple times a week. So the proximity of the people around you has nothing to do with their readiness to heal or to help you heal or to be a part of your healing process. It doesn't mean that. So another thing, y'all spouses, y'all start being spiritual, and now you want the whole house to be spiritual. Your spouse ain't signed up for this. The people around you are not going through the journey just because you started going through the journey. That's not how that works. And it makes you insensitive. It makes you an emotional bully when you go out here and you try to start forcing shit on people just because now you're ready for it. No, you got to handle your shit. This is why it's called shadow work and self-work, because it's about you. When you wake up, you don't wake up to go around and start pointing the finger at everybody. You wake up so you can start pointing the finger at yourself. So you can change yourself, and therefore you create a different life for yourself, right? Healing is not for us to go back in generations and heal. It's not about going backwards. It's about preparing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, so who comes after us will have the best. We prepare for the generations before us, not behind us. So your healing don't got shit to do with your parents, but it do got everything to do with your children. Your healing don't got shit to do with your grandmama and grandpapa and great-great-grandmama and great-great-grandpapa, but it has everything to do with your offspring. Even if you don't have children yourself, your brother's kids, your sister's kids. If you don't have kids at all, the people and the lives that you affect, that you interact with, you sowing seeds every time you open your mouth. So the healing don't have shit to do with the people behind you. It don't have nothing to do with the people that hurt you. It don't have nothing to do with the people who traumatized you. But it has everything to do with the people who you want to be a part of your future. And the people who are a part of your future and your own future. And when you change that when you tweak that little thought in your head, you stop prioritizing the people behind you, and you start to do everything that you need to do to correct yourself so that the people that come after you will have a clean, fresh slate. Imagine if your grandmama healed for you, even though you weren't even there yet. Imagine your grandmama at your age prioritizing you and you not even here yet. That's what our job is to do. That's how we change generational curses and we turn it into generational knowledge. That's how we change it from generational curses to generational wealth. That's how we make that change. When we stop focusing on what's behind us and we start preparing for what is to come. That's how we switch it up. That's how we make the change. Okay? So hopefully this has helped you guys. We are coming towards the end of Hoodoo Heritage Month. If you don't know what hoodoo is the African American spiritual practice that we were practicing for a very long time. It kind of started showing its head during slavery. And we just put the title hoodoo on it, but we have always been very, very spiritual beings, and it is nothing more than the way that we practice spirituality. That's all that it is. It's not no black, quote unquote, black magic in a derogatory way or none of that. Okay, it's just the way that black people practice spirituality. Okay, and they just put a name on it. All right, that's all that it means. But with Hoodoo Heritage Month, we always honor our ancestors. We always, want to make sure that we are keeping ancestry in mind and keeping generational wealth and curses and things of that nature in mind. This is why during this month, a lot of family things come out, or, a lot of personal things come out. So there's certain things that you are finding out about yourself. That's what that's about. If there's certain things that you're finding out about your family, that's what that's about. Okay? So pay attention. We still got a couple more weeks. Well, we still got a couple more days actually in the month of October, and then we go into Scorpio season. Now we're already in Scorpio season, but we officially go more into November. Now this is the thing about Scorpio season. Scorpio is represented by the death card. Doesn't mean physical death, okay, but it means things coming to an end and being reborn. Okay, it is a 9 season. Okay, 9 seasons come right before we start over with 1. Okay, so it's a 9 season. November is technically the 9th month, not the 11th. Okay, when you start to study numerology and get into numerology, everything starts to make sense. So this is a season where you need to be thinking of what no longer serves you, what no longer works for you. Okay, this is also a season to expect things that are not for you to die. Okay, and we want that. We want things that are not for us to die. We don't want to hold on to no shit that ain't for us. That's crazy. Okay, so we want things to die. We want old things to die hard. Yes, the fuck we do. We want it to die a hard, unpleasant death. Right? But we understand that nothing ever officially dies. It just gets transformed. Right? So a lot of the things that need to die in your life are also transforming into new things. So for a lot of you guys, you're letting go of a lot of things that once held you back and realizing that you can manipulate that energy and make it work for you. Right? Or you're learning a different way to go about something. So you killed off one version of something and then you rebirth another version of something. That's what this whole month, this whole Scorpio season is going to be about. Okay, so take that into strong consideration as we are moving forward, to close out the year, and to get back to the 1 season, which is March, which is Aries season. March 21st is when we officially get back into the 1 season. So we at 9. We're in a 9 season right now. Okay, go look up the number 9. I did a video on personal years. Some of you guys may be in a personal year 9. Okay, that was coming up a lot. I was getting a lot of personal year 7s and a lot of personal year 9s. Okay, so figure out where you lie and and where you are. You can go back and check that video out. It'll show you how to calculate that and everything. But other than that, light and love to everybody. Again, I hope y'all got something from this. Again, if you are ready to heal, if you're ready to break down those generational curses and get some insight, if you need a consultation, if you need some advice, if you just need someone to kind of hear you out and help you get more steady, or create a solid foundation for your journey, definitely reach out. I have a lot of different services. I also have payment plans, and I do a lot of specials because of the recession and a lot of other things that we're going through. Also, the 15-minute and 30-minute card reading is still available for those who are interested. The 8 card reading is also available for those who are interested, but these are all of the topics that you can choose from. If you're interested, again, all of my contact information is at the bottom. Definitely feel free to reach out if you do need anything. But other than that, light and love to all of you beautiful people. Again, share this video with anyone who you feel like can use it. I will be doing the members only live tonight. So if you are a member, definitely come back tonight and check that out. If you have all your notifications, then you should know when I go live. It should alert you. But other than that, I'll be back tonight for my members. If you want to become a member, definitely head over to YouTube and subscribe. The member option will then pop up and you can choose your membership. And if you are not a member, then your reading for the month of the month of November and Scorpio season will come on Friday for the collective, when I do the collective reading. If you're watching Facebook, definitely make sure that you share this video, send a reaction, and share with anyone or people or groups that you feel like can use these messages or this insight. Other than that, we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, doing our Wisdom Wednesdays. Our topic tomorrow will be really good as well. There's 2 topics that I'm kind of caught up in doing, so whichever one I do tomorrow, that's the one that I picked. Other than that, light and love. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Again, I do have a shadow work journal that is actually pictured on here in the middle. Definitely go check that out if you need help with healing from generational traumas. It is available on Amazon. The link is in the description if you're watching from YouTube. If you're watching from Facebook, just go on my page. I have all of my books and a lot of other literature listed, and you can go and definitely get what you feel like is for you. Other than that, light and love. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.